I tell them suckers to move. I ain't in the mood. Got me with the crew, let me do what I do. I tell them suckers to poof. Got me in the booth, lobby in the truth. Let me do what I do. Yeah, remember when the U come through, enter the music jungle. Or back with the block, I used to rock, I used to fumble. I still rock down, drop the ball when I want to. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Manny.
My name's Alberto.
And this is the OnlyFights Podcast.
Episode 19.
Episode 19. What's up?
How's your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was great, man. I did a 48-hour fast. Like,
before?
Leading up to it. Yeah. So my first meal was just a small plate of rice and some stuffing. And then as soon as I was done with that, my brother came through with the turkey, and it was on and popping, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, how was yours?
It was good, man. I hosted the family here, my family, my wife's family.
Hey.
So it was fun. It was good. We had a good time.
Awesome.
Had a lot of food.
Awesome.
Watched some football as well.
Oh, yeah. That's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the Cowboys had a fucking typical Cowboys game.
Nice.
Yeah, that sucked. And then there was no UFC. There was no UFC over the weekend. It was like the first time in a while, actually.
Yeah.
That there was nothing. And then I realized that there was some crazy, Triller had some crazy circus event again.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know. I thought that was like I thought it was Rampage Jackson and Shannon Briggs. I thought they were gonna fight each other. That's
what I thought it was too, because I had even seen an interview with Rampage, and he said that they're working on that fight, or he's getting ready for that fight.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I guess it was like some team type thing. It was like a whole event thing that they put together, and it was basically like Rampage was the coach of one team, and Shannon Briggs was the coach of the other team, and it was like MMA fighters versus boxers. Yeah, it was crazy. And then I was like, all right, that looks a little interesting. Let me look when this is. And then the first thing I see when I look it up is the triangle fucking ring.
The pizza ring.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then for a second, I was like, dude, I hope this isn't the ring that Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez are gonna fight in.
Yeah, when there was gonna be on Triller.
Yeah. Like I just thought of that for a second. I was like, that'd be crazy.
I don't think they would have accepted that. That would have been crazy.
So I guess Triller's trying to do like a whole new thing, like a whole new. I mean, I don't understand why like the whole thing with like people trying to merge like boxing and MMA. It doesn't really make sense to me because like boxing is a martial art itself. You know what I mean? And and MMA is like all the martial arts. So I don't like. So their thing was all punches allowed, but no takedowns, no kicks, no elbows. But they could do like the spinning back fists and all the other like crazy MMA punches. And they were pretty much boxing with MMA gloves. Okay. Which are way smaller too. I think they're like 3-ounce gloves or something. So
so it was closer to like bare knuckle boxing then.
Yeah, it was with MMA gloves. It was interesting. So yeah, the main event was Frank Mir and how do you say this guy's name again?
Kubrat Pulev.
Yeah, who he recently fought Anthony Joshua, right?
Yeah, he got knocked out. Like
that was the last knockout he had before he fought Usyk.
Yep. Yeah, and Pulev was, I believe, a mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So yeah, so he was Pulev was obviously representing the boxers, and Frank Mir was the MMA guy. I think a lot of UFC guys. So yeah, he was an ex-UFC guy. So Frank Mir ends up getting knocked out in the first round. It was it was pretty funny watching him, like when he gets hurt. Like when you're playing Mortal Kombat, and at the end when you win and the guy's like, he's just standing there wobbling, and you have to do the fatality move. It says finish him. Yeah. And if you fuck up and you can't get the buttons right, he just stands there wobbling, then the fight just ends.
Right, you get like 3 seconds to do it.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. It seemed like the ref wasn't sure. Like Frank Mir was out on his feet, like fucking trying to stay up, and the ref like wasn't sure if to stop it or not. And then he like finally just stopped it.
Yeah.
Pulev could have very easily went in and like really finished him. Like,
oh yeah,
he could have hit him with anything, and it would have put him out.
That's a heavyweight, man. That could always be bad.
Yeah, that was a minute and a half into the first round.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of this, so like I would like to see what the triangle thing, how that was. Like, where did they end up in the corner all the time? Like,
I watched a video. It was probably one of the first fights. They were just promoting it, and while it was happening, and yeah, they're basically
on two ends of the ring, or I'm sorry, on the like corner. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so it's like part of the ring is pointing at you when you're watching it, and I don't know, man. That it looked weird to me, man.
Yeah.
Like my brain was hurting trying to process that. I had to turn it off.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, that was that one. I did see an interview before this happened earlier this week with Frank Mir. I thought he had a Bellator fight coming up, honestly, because I saw him talking about it, and he was just saying how this is his biggest payday of his career. Like, a lot of fighters a lot of the MMA guys been saying.
Well, he's from that era where they really didn't get paid much.
Yeah, they really didn't get. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so the next fight, or the co-main, was Alexander Flores versus Matt Matrione. We seen Matrione fight, I think, Bellator last.
I think Flores is a PBC or used to be a PBC fighter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So and he got the decision win over Matt Matrione, unanimous decision. I didn't watch that one, but they have the scores here. It looks like it was unanimous. And then Mike Perry fought Michael Seals, and Mike Perry, I think he got dropped in the first round, and then he ended up still winning by a split decision.
Nice.
I thought it was kind of weird when I saw Mike Perry's name there, because I could have swore that he signed with Bare Knuckle Boxing. I remember saying that on here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he could do both.
Maybe, yeah. So, yeah. It was interesting, man. I mean, I don't know.
Did you watch the Metallica concert?
No, that's the only thing that I was most interested in, really, when I saw it. I guess Metallica, played a couple songs in the beginning and then like somewhere in the middle. But I didn't watch it. They were in a big ass stadium too. They were like in the Texas Rangers baseball stadium.
Oh yeah.
It just looks so weird with this big ass stadium, and then they got this triangle in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like supposed to like force the action or something. I don't know.
Do you think like, is that the theme, like a baseball mount, kind of how the baseball, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, maybe I didn't even think about that.
I don't know. Yeah, they're probably just trying to do some weird shit, man. I'm not really for it, but
I'm almost more for the like what we thought it was, like 1 round MMA, 1 round boxing, or just one, or not necessarily MMA. I just hate that how they like want to say like MMA and boxing is like totally separate. Like, like obviously there's boxing in MMA. Like,
right,
you gotta know.
And the thing about these events is like, it just like the whole boxing versus MMA. It just promotes that bullshit,
Yeah.
slander. Like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of like, people thinking one sport is better than the other, when I'm trying to like convince people like it's the same sport. It's different sports, but it's combat sports.
Yeah. Hell
And
yeah.
that's what separates itself from all the other sports that people watch, like football and basketball and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they're trying to divide it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
That's what I don't like about it. Like,
Civil War shit.
yeah, like
nah.
I do like the idea. Like, I am interested in seeing like boxers go to MMA, or MMA fighters go to boxing, but the whole them trying to like separate it, like it's two separate things. Like, it's really not.
And the only people doing it right is Clarissa Shields and Amanda Serrano.
Exactly.
Two females.
Exactly. And I don't think they get the they get the credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Man.
Speaking on that real quick, did you see that her fight got pushed back?
Yep. I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
It's probably good because like that was that December 11th super stacked. It's still super stacked, but now there's just one less card.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see that.
But yeah, Clarissa Shields, man, she's that's awesome what she's doing. Like, taking it serious and putting in the work is awesome.
Yeah, and that's good for her to get more time, especially after suffering that loss. But, yeah, man, we had some great boxing last night, man. On Saturday. I'll start with I really want to start with the Showtime card, even though I'll start with the Showtime card, man. Even though that was later.
That was the bigger one, though, right?
I don't think so.
No.
That's not the one I watched. I watched the Dazn, so I didn't even watch the undercard of the Showtime, the Showtime undercard. But I'll just real quick run through the results. Gary Antonio Russell Jr. taking on Alexandro Santiago. It was a close fight from what I seen in the unofficial scorecards, but Gary Russell Jr. would take that in a majority decision. And the Rais Salim taking on Eduardo Baez. Didn't watch that either, but seemed like a pretty dominant victory for Aleem. And in the main event, real fun fight. A fight that I didn't give you a prediction for who would win, but I did predict that the fight would be really good. And I mean, I don't know if I can call it like an instant classic, man, but you know, it was 12 rounds of just phone booth fighting. You know, you had the brawler, the Mexican brawler, and Brandon Figueroa. You know, you had the slick Philly boxer and Stephen Fulton. It was just action from round one to the end. It really the rounds were really contingent on what you liked. A lot of clean, hard shots landing from Stephen Fulton, but just relentless, hard, grueling activity from Brandon Figueroa. A lot of those dirty Mexican tactics too, that we love so much. I have the we posted. Did I post it? Yeah, we posted the numbers, man. The combi box. It was insane.
Yeah, punches thrown was crazy.
Yeah, Brandon Figueroa threw a total of 1,060 punches in the fight and landed 314. It's actually not pretty bad.
Not a very high percentage, but that's a lot of punches thrown.
Yeah, 106 body shots landed for Figueroa, 85 for Fulton. Fulton landed 247 power punches compared to 298 of Figueroa. You know, like I said, it really all depends on how you saw the fight. It did seem like most of the people thought that Brandon Figueroa won. I think they did like a Twitter poll. I think like 60% of the people thought that he won. The crowd wasn't too responsive, but they also weren't too rejective of the basically after the fight. The post-fight interview was pretty interesting. You know, it was pretty much business as usual with Steve. Is it Steve Farhood? The interviewer from Showtime, you know, talking to him, and Brandon Figueroa would interrupt it and was like, "Yo, you thought you won the fight?" And you know, had this whole confrontation.
Yeah.
And they talked about a rematch, and it was pretty crazy because that wasn't the first time we saw that. You know, like that night.
Yeah.
Because earlier that night, well, let me just recap real quick. So, Stephen Fulton and Brandon Figueroa, they fought to unify. I believe to unify in the featherweight division, 122 pounds. I think Fulton had the WBC and Figueroa had the WBA. So
Nice.
Bantamweights, I'm sorry.
So
Earlier that day, or earlier that night rather, Dazn, man. Dazn had a really good card. The first fight I saw was Raymond Ford. I seen this dude before. He's really nice. He came in at 9-0 with 1 draw, 5 knockouts. He fights at 126 pounds. He's from Camden, New Jersey.
Oh, sure.
Taking on Felix Caraballo, Puerto Rican, seasoned veteran. You know, not too many fights, but you know he been in with Shakur Stevenson and some good guys. 13-3 with 2 draws, 9 knockouts. And he got some power. Raymond Ford boxed very, very well. Really well, actually. Southpaw. Young, 22 years old. And just has a really, really solid style. You know, like you can see a little bit of all the greats, you know, in his style. Like, obviously, he has a long way to go, being only 22 years old and only in his 10th fight. But man, he had the speed, he had the accuracy, the punching selection, the ring IQ, a little bit of everything. Didn't seem to have too much power against Caraballo, but that could just be a testament to his chin and his toughness, which could obviously be your downfall because he was taking a lot of shots, and I mean, I think I was calling for the stoppage like by like round 6,
Damn.
and I think he would get it round 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like about a minute left, and referee just looked for a barrage of punches to stop it. But yeah, man, this Raymond Ford kid, man, he looks freaking great, man. I look forward to seeing what's next for him.
Nice.
You know, has and his stamina. I think that was the most impressive thing about him, bro. Like he barely broke a sweat. You know what I mean? Like, and he wasn't even breathing heavy after 8 rounds. Yeah.
Damn.
So, co-main event was an IBF title eliminator for the super featherweight division.
Nice.
So, Kenichi Agawa taking on Azinga Fuzzily. This was a pretty good fight. Fuzzily was trying to box and, you know, pretty content with boxing, whereas Kenichi Agawa was really trying to force the fight, trying to take it to him. He would have success pretty much in the mid rounds, and from there on, I think take the fight, dropping him in 2 of the rounds. Pretty good fight, and Agawa would take it. So yeah, the new IBF super featherweight champion, Kenichi Agawa.
Nice.
That was the co-main event. So what would be another great main event in the Dazn card? Teofimo Lopez taking on George Kambosos, a fight that we've been trying to get for a couple years now.
Yeah.
Was it? Earlier this year, since last year. Both guys, you know, and because of that, both guys are coming off a very long layoff, pretty much over a year. You know, Teofimo Lopez, the last fight was against Vasily Lomachenko in October 17th and October 31st of last year. And October 31st of last year is Kambosos' last fight. So these guys are coming off a long layoff. It was interesting to see how both fighters would react to it. You know, Teofimo, the first thing that I seen, bro, he looked freaking huge, man.
Yeah.
He looked a lot bigger, like a whole nother weight class than Kambosos. But first round starts, man, Teo just comes out winging, like really trying to take his head off. He kept saying that he wanted a first round knockout, and you can tell that he tried for it.
For sure, he's going for it.
He was fighting with
He looked like a totally different fighter in that fight than the Loma fight in that first round.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like to say he was fighting, like a lot of people were saying he was fighting with emotion, a lot of emotion in this fight. Well, he fought with a lot of emotion in the Loma fight.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of emotion, but he was very poised. In this fight, he wasn't. You know, he was really trying to take Kambosos' head off, and he kept saying, "I'm gonna go for a first round knockout" in press conferences and stuff like that, in interviews. And Kambosos was like, "Yo, if he really means that, I'm gonna clip him, and I'll probably drop him in the first round." And that's exactly what happened. With maybe like 15 seconds left in the round, they get separated from like a clinch, and Kambosos comes in with an overhand right that lands flush, and
huge.
just drops Lopez. He's not hurt, but he gets back up on some, you know, all right, bet, let's fight, you know, and he goes back to the corner, and his father, not to be repetitive with the whole like father trainer thing, man, but I was not feeling his dad, man. Teofimo Lopez, a senior,
Yeah.
man, I was not feeling dude. He was, you know, I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know, using profanity, but like I didn't like what he was saying. You know, he just kept basically telling his son to fight, like, you know, basically, you know, yo, knock him out, you know, like knock this guy out. And
no real strategy or anything.
It didn't seem like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just a lot of just like a lot of tough talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yo, knock this fucking guy out, man. What the fuck? You know, all that. You know, I wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? But Kambosos was boxing beautifully. And I thought he was taking rounds. He was comfortably ahead in my scorecard.
Yeah.
Up until about the 9th round. Teofimo Lopez. Oh, that's another thing, man. In the corner, Teofimo Lopez's dad is saying that he's telling him that he's winning rounds that I thought he clearly wasn't winning, which may be the reason for a delusional Teofimo Lopez, which we'll get into. But yeah. Man, somewhere around the 9th round is, I think, when Teo really starts to pick it up, and he rocks Kambosos in that round. In the 10th round, he manages to hurt him and drops him with a really hard right. And Kambosos looks absolutely hurt. You know, it did not look like there was like a minute and a half left in that round. It did not look like he was gonna survive that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. You know, this is Teofimo opportunity to finish the fight, a fight that I thought he was losing. And he doesn't step on the gas. I mean, he's going for it. He's landing shots, but he's also giving Kambosos his space and kind of lets him live. I wasn't feeling that. I don't know if he was tired or maybe he thought that he can conserve his energy for the championship rounds, and or maybe the poor advice from his pops telling him that he was winning rounds told him I don't need to finish this fight. So
yeah, that'll explain. That'll explain it.
So Kambosos manages to finish the 10th round where it looked like he was really hurt bad. And then he comes out in the championship rounds and absolutely dominates the well, I don't know about dominates, but he had a really good 11th round, really good comeback round. And by then Teofimo Lopez is a bloody mess. They had to stop the fight for a little bit, or pause the fight rather, just to get the doctor to check on him.
Yeah, what round did that cut happen?
Dude, I think that was the first round. I think that first
shit,
overhand right. I could be wrong though.
That cut was bad though.
He just a lot of shots, man. Teo was taking.
Yeah.
And in the 12th round, I actually gave Teofimo Lopez the 12th round. I thought he fought strong, but I think Kambosos won on all the scorecards in the 12th round. Which goes to the decision. Boxing gets it right, man. You know what I mean? We talk trash when they get it wrong, man. We got to salute and celebrate when they get it right. Because it was a split decision. One of the judges had it for Kambosos. One of the judges had it for Lopez. And then when I heard the scorecard, I was like, oh yeah, they gave it to Lopez. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So congratulations to George Kambosos Jr. on a great fight. It was a great fight. I don't want to keep repeating myself with the fight of the year shit, but it was definitely up there. It was a much more competitive fight than a lot of people expected.
Yeah.
I think Kambosos was a 13-1 underdog. Something like that. It was crazy. And then in that press conference was very reminiscent of the one that I just spoke of with Fulton and Figueroa. They're talking to Kambosos, business as usual, and it gets interrupted by Teo, and he's like, "Nah, man, I want to fight." And look, man, it's one thing if you thought that Teofimo Lopez won a fight. One of the judges thought he did. I don't think he did, but I think, like I said, because his dad, was telling him that he was winning rounds. He said he won 10-2. He said,
that's crazy.
I won 10-2 rounds. I said, man, that's nuts.
But that must have been what his dad told him. So basically, in his head, he only lost the 2 rounds that he got knocked down in.
Yeah, no, he got knocked down on one in the first.
Oh, he didn't get knocked down again?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Kambosos would get knocked down.
Okay.
Yeah. So both guys would get dropped. But yeah, man, it was a good fight, man, and I'm just glad, like I said, that Kambosos got the nod because for the same reason I was glad that Teofimo Lopez got the nod against Lomachenko. When I heard those scorecards, I was like, oh, this poor kid's about to get robbed.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I was like, I don't think they're gonna give it to Lopez, and they did. So same thing, man. And this fight was very reminiscent of that fight in many ways too, because like I said, Teofimo Lopez, he was fighting with a lot of emotion, and there was a lot of emotional build up to this fight.
Yeah.
There was the whole father-son trainer thing with both fighters. There was no rematch clause, right? So there,
Mm-hmm.
he was very adamant and kept saying he's not giving Loma. I'm not giving them a rematch because if I would have lost, they would not give me a rematch. So there was no rematch clause in this fight either. And even though Kambosos did say that they could fight again, but they would have to fight in Australia.
Yeah, he said it's due in Australia.
And I mean, nothing against Australia, but the only reason why I would be against that is because then the fight would be at like freaking 4 in the morning or something. Like, You know, I can't catch a Joseph Parker fight to save my life. So that wouldn't be cool for us.
Yeah.
Spoiled Americans.
But yeah, Teofimo didn't even seem too excited about that rematch. Like, he kind of had a look on his face when he said that. Like, he looked back like, oh shit. Like,
Rolled his eyes like, we got to do this again. Yeah, man. I mean, I do like Teofimo Lopez, man, but I'm not gonna lie, man. It was kind of nice to see the boy get humbled, man. Cause I mean, more so because of his pops, man. And like I said, man, I don't want to keep digging in on this, but bro, like his pops is like a diva, bro. Like,
yeah, I didn't
you know
notice
what
that.
I mean? Like, I didn't like that, and yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, but I think if Teofimo Lopez maybe could get somebody else in his corner, you know, not he don't got to get rid of his dad completely,
Yeah.
or maybe he does. I don't know, but you know, that was not good work from Lopez Senior.
Yeah.
In the corner. Yeah. Nonetheless, man, great work from Kambosos. You know, he did his thing, and just put another fire in that crazy lightweight division of boxing, man. That's
Yep.
really taking over and really becoming a glamour division, man. Especially with things like this happening. Well, I'll just get into the future events now, man. Next week we have Devin Haney taking on Jojo Diaz, another fight in the lightweight division. On Friday, and then on Saturday we have Gervonta Davis taking on Isaac Cruz.
Is that a lightweight too?
Yep. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure. I gotta double check. I'm pretty sure. Because Tank does fight in like different weight classes, 140 and stuff like that. So, but I'm pretty sure that's a 135 fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to the Devin Haney fight, though, man. Like, I be telling people, man, Dazn is like the place for upsets, yo. Like, it's crazy, you know. Especially at Madison Square Garden, right? Because that's where Andy Ruiz knocked out AJ.
Yeah.
You know, in the Garden, and nah, man. But
So do you think the winner of that fight fights Kambosos?
I would assume so, because you know the whole dispute between the undisputed heavyweight of a lightweight championship.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, real quick, Devin Haney was a mandatory for Lomachenko when he was the undisputed champion, or not? He was undisputed because Teofimo had a belt, but he was unified, and one of the WBC mandatory was Devin Haney. So Loma would get elevated to franchise, which it was made for. It was kind of made to clear, like, for mandatories, so that you don't have to fight them.
Yeah.
But the purpose of that was so that you could unify and for undisputed and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's exactly what he did. He fought Teofimo Lopez, the guy with the other belt that he would have needed to be undisputed, except he didn't win. He lost. And because he lost, Teofimo Lopez was crowned undisputed, but Devin Haney, because he never got his mandatory title shot, WBC just gave him a belt. So he never really fought for it. You know, he kind of just got one. So now there's this huge debate over, like, well, Teofimo Lopez isn't undisputed because Devin Haney has a belt.
Yeah.
You know, well, now Kambosos, he's in a position now, you know. So I wouldn't see why Eddie Hearn wouldn't make that fight immediately. The winner, because, I mean, you know, this isn't a gimme fight for Devin Haney. Jojo Diaz, you know, he's had his moments. He upsetted, Tevin Farmer on his own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could see another upset. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen because he's much smaller than Devin Haney. Devin Haney's a more natural lightweight, 5'9". Jojo Diaz is like 5'6".
Damn.
You know, so yeah. But and Jessica McCaskill, you know, undisputed in the women's welterweight division, taking on Victoria Bustos in the co-main.
Nice.
You know, and like I said, the next day from that would be Tank Davis taking on a replacement fighter in Isaac Cruz. I don't know. I don't even know why that's pay-per-view, man. That's crazy. I mean, it does have a decent undercard.
Yeah.
With Sergey Derenchenko taking on Carlos Adams, and Sebastian Fundora taking on Sergio Garcia in the co-main for the WBC Junior Middleweight title eliminator.
Nice.
So, I think that would be Jermell Charlo. A mandatory for Jermell Charlo. Even though he has another mandatory.
Yeah, they announced it. They announced a fight for him, right?
They announced the rematch with Brian Castano, which is what people wanted. But the problem is, now that they're gonna now their mandatories have to wait even longer. Tim Tszyu was supposed to be the mandatory for Castano, and I forget the name of the other guy, but he's a Middle Eastern fighter.
Yeah.
For Jermell Charlo, and now you're gonna have another one after this fight, and both mandatories are good fights though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't blame people for wanting to see Undisputed. The problem is they're gonna have to fight again in Texas. I want to say Houston, and that's where they had in the first fight. And Texas is known for having those wild, crazy judging.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what's up, and hopefully we get a knockout in that fight. Whoever wins it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Lomachenko taking on Richard Coleman December 11th, with a very familiar face undercard. Jared Anderson, Xander Zayas, Nico Aliwash, and as well as other fights that we'll get into. But I'll let you. That's pretty much all I got. Pretty much all I got for the boxing. I'll let you run into future events for UFC and stuff.
Yeah, next week, right? December 4th. Is December 4th next week?
Yeah, that's a Friday, I think, or a Saturday.
Yeah. Got a fight night. Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. Bantamweight, main event, 5 rounds. That should be a really good fight, man. Jose Aldo, obviously he's former champ in featherweight. Some people, say he's the best featherweight of all time. Legend. Rob Font, up and coming fighter now. Well, I won't say up and coming anymore, but he's definitely earned his way up. I would say if he gets his win, he's probably one fight away from a title shot after this.
Yeah.
Jose Aldo definitely puts him up, definitely throws him up there. But Jose is also kind of. I think his last performance he won though. His last fight he fought Pedro Munoz, I think it was, and he looked really good, man.
Yeah, he really seemed to turn back the clock on that fight.
Yeah, and he always starts strong. I think the only thing is he kind of gets tired at the end, but he always starts out really strong, really sharp. His leg kicks. He seemed to be going back to the leg kicks for a long time. He kind of went away from that, but I think Rob Font can get it, man. I think he's a younger, hungrier fighter. I think he deserves it. His last fight, he had a real impressive performance against Cody Garbrandt. Really beat him up all 5 rounds, I think it was. So this should be a really good fight, man. I'm excited for this one. The co-main, lightweight Brad Riddle. Is that what you say, Riddle?
I think so, yeah.
And Rafael Fiziev. Oh yeah, Fiziev. This should be a really good fight, man. These two guys are both bangers. They both they both just go out there and are really exciting fighters. It should be a really good fight. And then the week after that, we got the big pay-per-view, December 11th, for the lightweight title. Charles Oliveira defending against Dustin Poirier. That's gonna be a really good fight, man. I'm excited for that one. That one can go either way. Dustin at this point just seems fucking unbeatable. After his 2 performances against Conor.
Yeah.
But Charles Oliveira too, man. When he won the title against Michael Chandler, that was a super impressive fight. He had to go through adversity. He got hurt in the first round, almost got finished in the first round, and then came back and finished him in the second round. Charles Oliveira also but before that he had that crazy performance against Tony Ferguson. Really fucking beat the shit out of Tony Ferguson on the ground.
Yeah.
That was wild. I don't know, man. For this one, I'm gonna have to wait. Maybe next week I'll give a prediction, but this is gonna be a tough one to call.
Yeah. We need that prediction, bro.
Yeah. And then the co-main is Amanda Nunez and Julia Pena. It's hard to bet against Amanda Nunez, man. Julia Pena, I think, has a wrestling background, so I'm sure she's gonna try to wrestle her. And Amanda's one of those fighters that she always I feel attacks whatever is the strength of her opponent. You know what I mean? Oh, you're a wrestler? Well, then I'm going to wrestle you. And I'm going to fucking dominate you on the ground. So, I don't know. It's hard to bet against Amanda.
This is her fight back after the COVID, right?
Amanda, this fight got pushed back. I think it was supposed to be in I'm not sure when it was supposed to be, but it was supposed to be earlier this year. But yeah, and then that lightweight division, man, for the men is crazy. They just announced another fight. Benil Darnush is gonna fight Islam Makhachev.
Nice.
Man, that fight is gonna be really good, and I think that was the right fight to make. Like, people forget about Benil Darnush, but he's ranked number 3. You know what I mean? Like, the rankings real quick. So obviously Charles Oliveira is a champ. Dustin's number 1, as he should be. Dustin Poirier is number 1. Justin Gaethje is number 2. Benil Darnush is 3, and then Islam is 4. And then after that is Michael Chandler. So yeah, those are all the you know what I mean, that's the best fights to make. Number 1 fighting for the title. I'm sure Justin Gaethje should get the next title shot. You know, he should fight the winner.
Yeah.
And then I think after that it should be the winner of this fight, Benil Darnush and Islam Makhachev. Benil has like a jiu-jitsu background. He's like, you know, he's won like all the fucking big jiu-jitsu tournaments that you could think of.
Yeah.
And Islam, obviously, you know, coming from Dagestan, from the Khabib, Khabib 2.0,
yeah,
is going to be a wrestler. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Benil is also one of those like jiu-jitsu guys that had developed pretty good striking. You know what I mean? Like his last couple of fights, his last fight, he beat up Tony Ferguson, you know, pretty bad too. That's another guy that I kind of feel bad for. Tony's getting, you know, I feel like he kind of missed his prime, or like, you know, missed the title shot in his prime, kind of. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I think Benil Darnush might be able to beat Islam, man. I don't know if it's gonna be interesting. Like, you know, it's one of those things that we won't know till we see it. Like, is Islam gonna be able to dominate him on the ground like everybody else?
Right.
Which is kind of what I thought about Tony Ferguson. Like, I would say Benil kind of reminds me of a Tony Ferguson in his style, kind of, where he's like jiu-jitsu is his background, and that's like his strongest thing, really. But, you know, his striking has got so much better that they're kind of known as strikers now. So, you know how I always wanted to see Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. This is, I think, gonna be the closest thing we get.
Yeah.
Benil Darnush versus Islam. But yeah, that should be really good, man. And you know, Islam had his last win was, he had the Kimura submission against Dan Hooker, who is going down. He recently announced that he's going down to 145. Do you see that?
Who Dan Hooker?
Dan Hooker, yeah.
Okay.
You know, he's coming off like 2 losses now. You
Yeah.
know? And he was in that lightweight division for a while, but that division is so stacked, man. It's like a lot of guys are either going up or going down.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Once they have a couple losses, I'm sure he doesn't want to become, you know, like one of those gatekeeper guys that, you know, just fights all the new guys coming up. And
I hear that.
you know what I mean? I think he could make a good run at 145. He did like a test cut, and he said he was able to, like, in 2 weeks he was able to make 145. So I saw an interview with him, and he was saying that he had no doubt that he could do it. He said he kind of had to do that to prove to some of his coaches, and I guess prove to UFC that he could do it, you know, safely or whatever. But yeah, Dan Hooker's a dog, man. I definitely would love to see him go down there. I mean, it's not like that division's any easier, though. You know what I mean? With fucking, like, Max and Yair, like, those guys. But it would be fun to see him fight some of those guys.
Yeah.
I think he said his the fight that he would like to have down there is fight the Korean Zombie.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty wild fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that lightweight division's on fire. Kevin Holland, he recently announced that he's going down too. He's going from 185 to 170, which, you know, I think is the right move for him. I think he was one of those guys that he liked being at 185 because he didn't cut any weight. Like, he always weighed in like a couple pounds under. You know what I mean? But, you know, he was getting thrown around. He was getting ragdolled by the bigger guys, the bigger wrestlers, and he couldn't do anything about it. So he's going down to 170. Kevin Gastelum is actually also going down to 170. He should have done that years ago, man. I think Kevin Gastelum could have been a champ at 170, like a couple years ago. But I think he just likes to eat. Likes to eat a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, he's a fun fighter to watch too, always. But yeah, I think that's it, man. So yeah, the Benil Darnush and Islam fight is gonna be a 5-round main event on February 26th. So I'm really looking forward to that one. So yeah, like I said, I think Justin Gaethje should get the next title shot. The winner of Charles and Dustin, and then I think the winner of Darnush and Makhachev should get the next one after that. But yeah, that's all I got, man.
Word. That's what's up, man.
UFC will be back next week.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You know, it's insane, man. For a weekend where there was pretty much like no MMA, boxing had like a really good weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show, like, you know, kind of what I wanted to say about what we were saying about earlier with the whole boxing versus MMA is stupid. Yeah, man. There's no need. Like, I don't think there's any need for like the competition. Like, at the end of the day, if you're an MMA fan and you know there was nothing for you to watch this weekend and you tuned into boxing, you were probably entertained.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, man. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out, man. It just goes to show how these things work, man.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty undeniable to say that they have both helped each other in the last couple of years a lot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, man. So, yeah, man. It's good to see more fight fans, not just boxing fans, not just MMA fans, but actual fight fans.
Word.
Yeah,
Hopefully
man.
we could start that. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man. And we thank you for tuning in to episode 19. Until next week, my name is Manny.
My name's Alberto.
This is the OnlyFights Podcast, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.